New York is like no other place in the world. And while this city has many unique offerings, it also has some unique challenges for visitors. So today, to help you out, I'm going to be sharing even more common tourist mistakes to avoid, and a lot of these we've never discussed in the channel. You don't want to miss it. Not using the bathroom before leaving a restaurant or any tourist attraction. This is good advice in any city around the world, but especially New York, where public bathrooms can be an absolute nightmare to find. So if you're at lunch, you're at dinner, you're visiting one of the museums, if you can, don't force yourself, use the bathroom before you leave, and it'll just be one less thing you need to stress about during your trip. You can all thank our cameraman, Amazing Ben, for this one, because he made me think about it, not checking the hourly forecast in New York City. Today in February, perfect example, it said the high was 62 degrees. I'm thinking that's what Ben did because he showed up without gloves, without a hat, but it was 62 degrees at around 2 a.m. It's actually 42 degrees right now, 13-mile-an-hour wind chills, feels like 37, and I even caught myself shivering. For my viewers out there from warmer climates, you have to be very careful about checking the forecast. Look at the hours you're going to be out because the temperature can dip drastically in the course of one day, and don't forget about those wind chills.
So the weatherman lied again.
Well, did the weatherman lie, or did you not check the actual hourly conditions?
I'm a New Yorker now. Who checks anymore?
Not knowing your order if you go to a busy pizza spot or a busy bodega and there's a lot of people trying to order, there's a long line. I have seen this many times where a tourist or someone not from New York isn't confident in what they want and they're still checking as they ask for their order. I've seen them get skipped over or get kind of a dirty look or say, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" So do everybody a favor when you're ordering at a busy spot and check the menu first and then step into line. You may think that the staff is being rude to you, but in New York City, fast pace of life, they're selling a lot of food. You're just slowing them down if you don't know what you want. There are so many mistakes you can make on the subway that we could dedicate an entire video to this. One that I see all the time is when a tourist or someone from out of town is checking their subway directions, where to go, at a busy spot, like right in the beginning of a staircase, and they just stop. They just freeze, and you have to walk around them. Like, you're inconveniencing all the people that are just trying to go through their day. So what you need to do is pull over somewhere where there's not a lot of people walking, take your time, gather your bearings, and you can get where you need to go. Perfect demonstration of how to be considerate when you're looking for where to go. Taking a train the wrong direction. This actually happened to me last week. I think it was the first time in almost a decade I went the wrong way. I was texting somebody, the train was just pulling up, and I didn't even have a chance to look if it was going uptown or downtown. So if this mistake happened to me, it could happen to any one of you. I highly recommend having an app on your phone like City Mapper or Google Maps. Let's say you don't have an app. You can always look up at what direction the train is going. Now this could be confusing to people not from here because this says uptown, meaning uptown in Manhattan, and the other side says Brooklyn and Queens. Also in New York, there's different lines on the same color. So just because the train is blue does not mean it's the train you need. You could be looking for the A or the C train in this example. If you take the A train, let's say at 59th Street, your next stop's gonna be 125 versus the C, which is gonna go local. So make sure to look for the letter or the number, not just the color on New York City trains. All right, Ben, what do you think? Not subscribing to this channel, would that be a common tourist mistake? Going to a random street food vendor, especially in the really touristy areas of Times Square, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying if there's not a lot of other people there, the food is definitely not gonna be as fresh. I'm all about taking my chances with random street food whenever possible, but just keep that in mind. If a place isn't busy, could be a reason for that. And I know you wanna get that hot dog experience out of the way, but be careful. Choosing the wrong observation deck or just going to too many observation decks. Now, these have become one of the most popular tourist attractions in New York City, especially because we have 5 of them right now. There's a lot of factors that go into choosing the right one for you. For example, if you want the most immersive experience, I'd pick the Summit. But if you want to go at night, I think I would lean on top of the Rock or on the Empire State Building. Or if it's freezing cold outside and you don't want to be exposed to the elements, well, right behind me there is the One World Observatory. We have covered every single one on this channel, putting a link down below to our playlist. You want to check that out. But another big problem would be going to too many observation decks. I know those attraction passes allow you to hop freely between most of them. The lines are long, and you're gonna spend so many precious hours just looking at New York City rather than actually experiencing all the things you can do at street level. So my recommendation is to only pick one. I just came up with this, but walking in the bike lane and not paying attention, because you will get hit by a bike, trust me. Engaging with street performers or sellers and forgetting to leave a tip. I'll tell you a story. I was in a city in Mexico and I saw a guy dressed as a Star Wars character, and a little girl and her mom went up and took a picture with him and didn't leave a tip. He looked a little upset, but nothing else happened. I promise you that if you do that in New York City to one of the Disney characters, they're gonna say some things that are not rated G to you, or worse, they might even follow you. Ditto if you take somebody's CD and don't leave a tip for it, so just be aware of that. Assuming that New Yorkers are jerks and being afraid to approach them, let's say if you're lost. Look, New Yorkers might be gruff and they may be to the point, but if you wanna ask somebody for help, I guarantee you most New Yorkers will have no problem stopping whatever it is they're doing to support you. But you need to be very specific. You need to have a cross street in mind. You can't just say, oh, where is 500 Broadway? Just respecting people's time. You know, they're not gonna make small talk with you like they would in some other cities in the US, where maybe the general population's a little bit friendlier to outsiders, but they will help you. Thinking that Central Park is just an easy thing to mark off your checklist, that you can visit it in 1 hour and see everything. Central Park is 2.5 miles top to bottom, and there's a lot of dense forest in between, paths that zigzag. If you have an hour or two, you could probably see Columbus Circle up to Bethesda Fountain. You would need to dedicate an entire day to Central Park to see everything. We filmed an entire guide there. It took us over 8 hours, and we walked almost 10 miles zigzagging all around. So if you want to do all of Central Park, you need a lot more time than you think, and we did a great guide to Central Park. Check it out when you get a chance. Where to begin with city bikes? The first mistake you could make is actually renting one and riding through busy streets if you don't have a lot of experience with it. Some of the taxi drivers here, some of the drivers in general are absolute maniacs, to put it lightly, and if you're not an experienced urban bike rider, you could run into all sorts of trouble. A mistake that a lot of people make is they don't return the bike properly. They don't push it in properly until the light comes on. So if your bike is not docked properly and somebody sees that and takes it around for the day, if it's not returned within 48 hours, you'll be charged $1,200. This is the exact spot that Ben got a ticket 2 months ago with me. Some of you sticklers for punishment insist on driving your car. The parking enforcement people in New York are absolutely ruthless. We parked here to film the memorial, and we were out of the car for less than 10 minutes, and we came back and Ben had a $100 ticket. Later in the day, Ben got a second ticket because he parked in a bus stop that was hidden by construction scaffolding. You have to read the parking signs with a magnifying glass sometimes to figure out what day of the week is it okay and what hour is it okay to leave your car. I have never met someone that drove in New York full time who did not get at least a couple of tickets. And when you look at the money that you spend on a ticket versus what it would pay to park in a garage, so if you can avoid bringing your car, I always tell you to do so. Check out our New York City tips playlist linked here, and tell me in the comments if you ever made any of these mistakes. I'm curious, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Till next time.